All right, three things I wish I knew sooner as a tattoo artist. If you're new here, most people know me as AG. I'm a black and gray self-taught tattoo artist based out of Arizona. 3 years ago, I didn't even know how to draw. Now I have my own private studio. I tattoo full-time as a career. I turned my hobby into my career. So if you want to check out more of my work, my Instagram's going to be linked in the description. It has pretty much all my portfolio on there. So the first thing I would say that I wish I knew earlier on was about tracing. Now, obviously I knew what tracing was, but let me explain why I think that this is important to know early on. A lot of people will tell you don't don't like don't use tracing, don't rely on a stencil, don't do any of this. You need to learn how to draw first. You need to learn all the basics, and they want you to practice a bunch of circles with shading and triangles and all this boring shit. Again, this is going to ruffle a lot of people's feathers, like especially OGs and old heads in the game. They're going to say, oh, bro, don't listen to this kid. He's trying to shortcut. He's trying to rush the process. No, I'm just telling you my way of how I learned. I was self-taught. I didn't have someone to teach me. So this is just kind of what helped me and what I wish I knew even sooner on. So again, it would be tracing. Tracing for me helped a lot. As soon as I started doing it, I started trying to freehand. I started doing the right way, trying to do the right way and the right thing. And I didn't want to be judged by other artists and be like, oh, you used a stencil. Oh, you used an outline. Oh, you traced this. Like, bro, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I knew eventually I wanted to tattoo, and in tattooing, you use stencils. Everyone used stencils. Even the best artists use stencils. So I was like, what's the difference with me drawing? If I want to try and learn and understand how to shade, light source, all this kind of stuff. Again, I'm biased. I'm a realism artist, so I'm going to mostly talk about that. But I mean, I wanted to learn more of that. I wanted to pay more attention to those things and really start learning that instead of getting caught up in the beginning with trying to figure out ratios and do a drawing grid and this, all these different things that, again, they help you 100%. They help you. But for me, I knew I wanted to progress faster, and I didn't want to get caught up on all those different things. I knew eventually I could kind of go back, and as I learned more of this, then I could kind of go back and learn some more fundamentals and then just keep pairing them together as I kept learning and progressing. For me, I get really bored quickly, and I knew that if I was just doing triangles and trying to shade a sphere, it does help you. It is fundamentally based. It is great and something you definitely need, but I needed something else to pique my interest. I knew that I wanted to draw some portraits. I wanted to draw much more advanced imagery. That's what was going to keep me engaged, but I knew I sucked. I knew I couldn't do them yet. But I felt like if I just kept trying to practice them and understand and already have a stencil and tracing outline of where the ratios are, like the eyes are here, the nose is here, the mouth is here, I could just focus on shading and copying an image and like the light source and the shading and the values. And that was what I thought was going to overall help me more progress rather than just trying to spend hours and hours learning like how to freehand a portrait or freehand this or freehand that. I was just going to get more discouraged and just get really frustrated and was going to ruin it for me. Because in the beginning, what I feel like you need to do is know who you are, know how you learn, how you think, how you operate, because that's going to help you with strategizing, especially if you're self-taught, especially if, you're trying to learn things on your own. You need to strategize on how you learn best. For me, I learned best when I was motivated and I was doing things that I enjoyed doing. So that's why I would say tracing helped me a lot. Once I understood how to shade a little bit more, then I started using less and less of the stencil, and I learned more that way. Now I just need hardly any of a stencil and I can do an image, But in the beginning, I needed every little, mark of shade or shading mark. I needed every little dot and line of everywhere to kind of show me where everything in the image was. I needed a full cheat sheet. Now, like I said, I don't really rely on that too much at all. But again, that came with the practice. But by tracing, it's going to help eliminate a lot of the mistakes. even if you're really good at shading and you're really good at this and you're really good at that, if your ratios are off and your stencil's like messed up, your whole image is going to look crazy, you know? So just take that out of the equation and just worry more about the fundamentals of lining and shading and drawing this and tattooing that, like all those different things. It will help you in the long run. Again, these are all my opinions, but that's what helped me a lot. The second thing, imposter syndrome. Ignoring imposter syndrome. At the beginning, I didn't really know what this meant, this phrase that was getting like tossed around a lot. I heard it a bunch, but I never really understood it. As soon as I understood what it meant, I was like, bro, that's why I have these doubts. That's why this is happening. That's why I think about this and I critique myself so hard on this. Imposter syndrome is something everyone deals with. All your favorite artists, whoever they are, whoever you look up to, I guarantee you at some point, if not the entire time of their career, they've had imposter syndrome. Everyone goes through it. Athletes, artists, actors, actresses, everyone goes through this stuff just to different levels, like I don't know how to say this. Different degrees of levels of it, I guess. I don't know. Something like that. Everyone deals with this. Like I said, it's just something that you got to really work on not focusing on and kind of just putting that out of your brain. Like you are meant to be whatever you're doing. If you're a self-taught artist and you have no background of it, you're meant to be an artist. If you want to be an artist, be an artist. You're meant to do it. You're meant to be it. Work hard on it and you'll become it. Whatever it is that you want to do, do it. But that's something that I struggle with, especially a lot in the beginning, because it was super challenging. I wanted to get into tattooing and I didn't even know how to draw. When I went to, different artists, they would say the same thing, like, bro, you don't even know how to draw. Like, oh yeah, it's not going to happen for you then. So obviously, as soon as I started drawing, as soon as I started tattooing, I always had that kind of creep in the back of my mind. Like anytime I would mess up, anytime I wasn't understanding something, I was always like, well, this might not even be for you anyways. Like how crazy is that? You're going to just try and teach yourself how to draw, teach yourself how to tattoo, like with no art background, with no, art schooling, art courses, art classes, no naturally ability to draw. Like you're just going to become a tattoo artist. Like, so obviously I struggled with that, but I would say if you do struggle with that, just completely ignore that. If this is something you want to do, do it. Again, it takes time, it takes practice, it takes a bunch of patience, but if you have all those things and you really have that determination to go get it, just put all that stuff out of your mind. The third thing I wish I knew sooner as a tattoo artist: slow is fast and fast is slow. When I first heard somebody say this, I was like, bro, this makes no sense. Slow is fast and fast is slow. What does that even mean? What they mean by that is when you're tattooing, when you're drawing, when you're painting, whatever you're doing, especially tattooing though. Tattooing is all about saturation, whether it's shading, whether it's packing black, whether it's packing color, whether it's doing a line, pulling some big line or a small line, whatever it is, it's about saturation. Good tattoos are well saturated, whether it's a light tone or complete black, it's well saturated. The only way to get real good saturation is by putting it in slowly and methodically and efficiently. That is the only way. So as soon as you understand that and you can slow your hand down, slow your hand speed down, you will be able to move faster because you're moving more efficiently. You're not going to have to shade this really fast and then be like, oh, that's not shaded enough. Now I have to go back to that area, shade it again. Oh, wait, it's not done enough. Now I got to go back again. You're going to slow yourself down, even though you think you're moving super fast. Trust me, I have a super, super, super fast hand motion. Naturally, I just feel like I have one. Whether I'm drawing, whether I'm writing, whether I'm typing, whether I'm painting, whatever I'm doing, I'm moving super fast. If you can't tell by now, if you've ever talked to me, I move a lot. I just move fast, right? So that was a thing that I really struggled with because I just felt like, and I heard other artists say this too, oh, I just have a fast hand speed, so I crank up my voltage and that's just how I do it. And I was like, oh, that's me then. Like, I'm just going to crank my voltage up really high and move my hand speed really quick. And then I realized, like, as pieces were coming back, they were like healing not as good as I want them to. Like, there was no, like, it wasn't like scarring or anything like that. It was just, it was getting washed out. The areas that I thought I shaded correctly were kind of being washed out, and it was like choppy and all this stuff, and I realized it was just because I was moving too fast. Now, again, there's times and places for everything. There's still areas that I still move very quickly because I crosshatch and I move this way, I move this way, I barely touch the skin, and that's what works good for me with shading. But more like the packing the blacks, packing some of the mid tones and darker tones, and having more of a solid looking tattoo, I realized I needed to kind of slow it down, move a little bit more methodically and slower, but you're going to be able to pack your blacks in on the first try. You're going to be able to pack your tones in on the first try. And then because you're doing that slower, you're actually moving faster because you're getting it done on the first or second pass instead of like 6 passes. You're doing this, doing that, and then it's like, oh, it's not shaded enough. Got to do it again. Got to do it again. You know what I mean? So hopefully some of this made sense. I kind of rambled for a while, but like I said, hopefully you took something from it. But yeah, these would be the 3 things that I wish I knew a little bit sooner into my tattooing career, and also just my self-taught career, trying to learn how to draw or paint or anything like that. I just wish I would have known these 3 things a little bit sooner. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever it is, drop them in the comments below. I react to everybody's comments. I try and be super interactive on this channel. All of my whole main goal on this channel is just to help people and to kind of be like that outlet for people to at least look at and see that there is other people that are self-taught, that didn't have a crazy art background, didn't have a crazy drawing background, and still got into tattooing, can still be successful in this career. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. I love you guys. Peace out.